I would like to say a few words on farm gate prices and rural wages. The two UPA governments have given higher prices for wheat, paddy, other cereals, cotton, etc., more than any previous government. I believe that was the right policy. I believe that farmers who grow these commodities are entitled to fair and remunerative prices so that they do not abandon farming and they continue to produce the food grains that are required by 1.3 billion people. Likewise, the UPA governments have, through Manrega, influenced rural wages. I believe that was also the right policy. The landless labourer or rural worker is entitled to a fair wage. The argument that inflation must be contained by suppressing farm gate prices or rural wages is, in my respectful submission, a specious argument that ignores the needs of the poor and deserves to be rejected. It is widely accepted that while monetary policy is an instrument to contain inflation, it is a rather blunt instrument, although the only one available to the monetary authority. It is also widely accepted that monetary policy has little impact on food prices. How do we then contain inflation, especially inflation in food articles? The answer is to increase supplies and to radically transform the manner in which commodities and food articles are stored, transported, distributed, and sold in the various markets, especially urban markets. There is also a need to deal wisely with harvesting and marketing and deal strictly with hoarding and profiteering. Laws in this behalf, at least as far as India is concerned, are entirely in the domain of the state governments. Two laws stand out. One is the Agricultural Produce Markets Act and the other the Essential Commodities Act. The powers of notification and enforcement under these acts are with the state governments. Yet, state governments are loath to take action under these acts. I think it is necessary to highlight the inaction of the state governments in this behalf, even while accepting that the central government must do all it can within its powers to moderate inflation. The next item on my list, and this will be the last one on which I shall speak today, is financial sector reforms. Financial sector reforms have been undertaken regularly over a long period. In the last 6 months, we have crossed several important milestones. These include: 1, the submission of the FSLRC report; 2, the enactment of the New Companies Act to replace a law of 1956 vintage; 3, passage of the PFRDA bill and making the Pensions Regulatory Authority a statutory body; and 4, placing commodities futures market regulation under the Ministry of Finance. I believe that when fully rolled out, these measures and these laws will have profound implication for the Indian financial sector. The impact of the Companies Act will be beyond the financial sector. The other 3 measures are directly related to financial sector, regulatory and institutional changes. Measures of legislative and institutional reforms have been undertaken in the financial sector more regularly than in many other areas. Steps have been taken to improve the regulatory governance process. Discussions are underway on the non-legislative steps recommended by the FSLRC as well. The legislative parts need to be pursued after due consultation and taking everyone on board and charting, synchronizing and sequencing the actions required in implementing big institutional changes. I believe that financial sector reforms can be game changers. We know what the new game changers can be. They include the GST, the Goods and Services Tax, the Direct Taxes Code, the Insurance Laws Amendment Bill, and the Uniform Financial Code recommended by the FSLRC. Each one of them requires the building of a broad consensus. My experience has been that consensus is built over several months of hard work, and then consensus crumbles when it is hit by a seizure of political opportunism. To conclude, I wish to reiterate that the primary goal of laying out an agenda for the future is faster, more inclusive, and sustained growth. We must focus on human development issues. Let me remind everyone here that in absolute terms, the number of poor in India declined from 407 million in 2004-05 to 270 million in 2011-12. Between 2004-05 and 2011-12, the average annual decline of the poverty ratio was 2.2 percentage points every year, which is around 3 times higher than the rate of decline in the poverty ratio during the period 1993-94 to 2004-05. Faster, more inclusive, and sustained growth must be the strategy that should guide us over the next 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, let me once again congratulate the organizers for bringing together a galaxy of academics and experts from different areas and different parts of the world to discuss on the theme of the conclave. I wish them a welcome once again, and I wish them a very pleasant stay in India. A great pleasure in formally inaugurating Delhi Economics Conclave 2013. Thank you.